Salah, Sadio Mane or Riyad Mahrez? Let's wait and see.
His Excellency Mr. President, who has reiterated his commitment to ensuring that the processes are free and fair and the environment secure.
President Buhari restates resolve to a credible electoral process, charges INEC and police on mandates at strategic meeting. Security forces competent to reunite Boko Haram hostages with families, Buhari assures Nigerians.
It is indeed about transparency, accessibility, and order in line with the commitment of the federal government to open government partnership, among others.
Stop indiscriminate signing of treaties and agreements, MDA is cautioned.
For safety reasons, I believe they are doing the right thing. Passengers should just try to understand and bear with the airline operators.
Plus, correspondent on vagaries of the weather and flight operations in the country. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on the Network News at 9. I am Kenen Emma Abodike. Of course, the 2019 CAF Award is ongoing in Egypt. We shall be rejoining the live transmission. But first, the news. President Muhammadu Buhari has restated his unshakable resolve towards engendering a free, fair and credible electoral process in the country. To this end, he charged the Independent National Electoral Commission and the Nigerian police to be firm and fair, as well as provide a level playing and secure environment for all in the discharge of their responsibilities. This was at a strategic meeting with the INEC chairman, Professor Mahamoud Yakubu, and the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari has never hidden his desire and commitment to bequeath to Nigerians an electoral process that is free, fair and credible. This meeting with officials of the nation's electoral umpire and the #1 law enforcement officer could best be described as walking the talk. All litigations in respect of the last general elections have been finalized. As a result, 30 national and state assembly elections have been nullified. 2 of the elections have already been conducted, while January 25th has been fixed for the remaining 28 across 11 states of the Federation, and INEC says it is ready. President Muhammadu Buhari wants to see both the outstanding and other subsequent elections as great examples in terms of credibility.
We met with His Excellency Mr. President, who has reiterated his commitment to ensuring that the processes are free and fair and the environment secure for that to happen. We will, using the court order to run elections and also some by-elections as a result purely of the act of God, the death of some members of the National and State Assemblies, as well as the forthcoming Edo and Ondo governorship elections, really set the pace for the kind of election that Nigerians desire. And this is our commitment and the assurance that we have given the President.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, assured the President that the Nigeria Police will not shirk its responsibilities in the provision of a secured political environment.
There must be secured environment. And in securing the environment, the security strategy have to be reviewed and have to be enhanced so as to have an election that violence will not be tolerated, violence snatching will not be tolerated. Those that usually participate in such actions, like the politicians, the security agencies, and INEC officials, this time around, they will not be allowed to do that. We shall make examples of anybody that wants to use violence to achieve his aim during the electoral process. And this is the beginning of the process to make sure that this country from now onward gets election that will be exemplary to the rest of the world.
The strategic engagement held behind closed doors also had in attendance the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, and the Director General, Department of State Services, Yusuf Magaji Bichi. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
At the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari this Tuesday granted audience to the former governor of Lagos State and chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in furtherance of his strategic engagement with critical stakeholders towards taking Nigeria to the next level. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambu brings us details.
Engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the state of the nation was the first in the year 2020. Discussions held behind closed doors centered on the security, stability, and socio-economic development of Nigeria. Speaking to newsmen shortly after, Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu described the New Year message by President Muhammadu Buhari to Nigerians as thought-provoking and reassuring.
His New Year message resonated very well. We have to relax, show concern for the people of the country, and see to the effort of the president that we manifest in the new, united, and prosperous country.
The APC chieftain was full of praises for the Nigerian leader over his decision to abide by the nation's constitutional term limits.
It's very good to hear it directly from him. And to me, I say congratulations to a man of character and integrity. I was in the trench and in the opposition to a third-term agenda of a former leader of this country, with Muhammadu Buhari, Mr. President. I know he will never. He has the courage and the character to refuse such a temptation, even if offered to him. I believe in him, and I believe Nigerians should, believe in him.
Asked to comment on the zoning formula by the governing APC for presidency in the next general elections, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu insists that time is not ripe for politicking. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umara Zulum, who was worried over attitudes of some security personnel at Njimtilo checkpoint, Konduga local government area, Borno State, returned there early today to reassess the situation. Mohammed Goni reports that the governor, on his way to Jakana town to sympathize with victims of Boko Haram attack, was prompted by the long queue of vehicles and passengers to stop and find out why.
Extortion by military personnel at Njimtilo checkpoint was as a result of insurgency attack on Jakana town in Kandiga local government, which necessitated the need by the military to identify passengers plying the road by producing their national ID card, a situation that forced passengers and commuters to spend hours on queue. Worried by the development, Governor Babagana Umara, who was on his way to Jakana town to sympathize with victims of the insurgency attack, said government is doing everything possible to ameliorate hardship faced by the people. As such, any attempt that will cause discomfort to the citizen will not be tolerated.
Those people in the checking point are receiving 500 naira per person, 1,000 per person. No any reasonable government can accept this one. And with the insurgency, there was an attack in Jekana, Boko Haram came with 5 gun trucks. I was coming from Mauli, and I was told even by Major General B on the road fighting Boko Haram on this road to stop and not go beyond Benishek. There was a fight for 2 hours. 3 Boko Haram were killed. Their corpses are still with us. Nobody is disputing this.
He said possibility of getting the national ID card has not been created, noting that this has brought more problems to the people of the state. However, the theater commander Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Olusegun Gabriel Adeniyi, said the congestion of vehicles was as a result of Boko Haram attack, thereby making them conduct thorough checking at the checkpoints, adding that it was not a deliberate attempt, but an effort to safeguard the people. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army headquarters is to investigate alleged extortion of commuters by 8 personnel at a military checkpoint along Maiduguri-Damaturu Road. A statement by the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator Colonel Amina Eliasu indicates that the allegation was made by the Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum when he encountered an alleged incident while on the route. Colonel Eliasu says the army is committed to conducting its constitutional role professionally and enjoins Nigerians to call the toll-free code 193 for any act of misconduct by 8 personnel. Meanwhile, in a reaction to the swift positive response by the Nigerian Army High Command to investigate conducts of security personnel around Njimtilo along Maiduguri-Kano Road, Borno State Governor Babagana Umara Zulum has described the move as commendable. In a statement by his special advisor on media, Issa Guzo, the governor praised the efforts of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukoro Yusuf Buratai, the leadership of the Theatre Command, Operation Lafia Dole, and the soldiers in the line of fire. Professor Zulum says he understands the sacrifices of the military and pledged the support of government and people of Borno in enhancing civil-military cooperation for the success of the counterinsurgency operations. Now, the presidency says security forces are working continuously to return those taken hostage by Boko Haram to their families, and government is confident in their ability to accomplish the task. The presidency, in a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, states that government has continued to condemn in strong terms the appalling acts of terror, especially following the festive period. The statement wants Nigerians to continue to be united in ensuring that they do not subscribe to terrorist message of division, because hearing discordant tunes from the citizens is exactly what Boko Haram and groups wish. They want Nigerians to see their beliefs as reason to turn against one another. Boko Haram should be the happiest seeing our religious leaders tearing at one another. The statement quotes, "The presidency is happy that majority of the citizens, Christians and Muslims, are united in their opposition to the terrorist groups and the hatred for decency that the infamous groups stand for. It frowns at some leaders and politicians seeking to make political capital from the unfortunate circumstances, emphasizing that the present administration will not tolerate religious intolerance as well as politicization of religion." The statement adds that the president does not wish to be distracted from this major focus of addressing rampant unemployment, alleviating poverty, and delivering long-delayed infrastructure by divisive politics, accusations, and counter-accusations on baseless religious issues. Living and learning just got a little better for internally displaced persons at Malaysian Garden Po here in Abuja as National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, in the spirit of the new year, distributed instructional and household materials to them. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the government agency also made the moment memorable for the children with a New Year party.
Thank you very much. I'm bringing food.
But no state. At this moment, he says he has longed for, like every child, but for this pleasure, the opportunity to grow in new family cycles, Sanusi and other children here have for long been deprived of due to war circumstances. Popular children mascots, bouncing castle, among other fun sports, made their day as National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons came calling to make their lives even more meaningful by promoting literacy within the camp. Instructional materials were distributed to the children.
These children have seen horrific acts of violence, have been displaced for years. Some of them have known no leisure, so it's just a small way of encouraging the children to have some fun and improve their emotional, mental and physical well-being.
In the spirit of the season and to assuage the plight of the IDPs, different household items were also distributed to parents.
For what we have seen and what the government have brought, we are very happy. We appreciate it a lot.
These children here are also victims of social unrest and suffer more from the agony of sacrificing their priceless childhood to unavoidable situations. But interventions from individuals and organizations will greatly reduce the negative impact. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
President Muhammad Buhari warmly felicitates with UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed on the World Leader Prize at the inaugural Global Citizen Award ceremony held in London. The President congratulates Mohammed, a former Minister of Environment, for the recognition of her efforts to make life better for the poor and underprivileged across the globe, starting with her passion for helping the less privileged in Nigeria. President Buhari extols the UN Deputy Secretary General for her contributions to global development and relentless priming of world leaders to work towards achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals and end extreme poverty by 2030. As the world celebrates Mohammed's zeal, commitment to improving lives through the UN goals, President Muhammad Buhari believes her wealth of experience, wisdom, and the network garnered from many years of national and international service to humanity will always be relevant for the time and prosperity. President Buhari wishes the United Nations Deputy Secretary General more prosperous years of achievements. You're on to the network news at 9. When we return, facts about electricity tariff. Welcome back. Following public outcry over proposed review of electricity tariff in the country, the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission says it will engage electricity consumers before effecting the review in April. Joshua Ojito tells us more.
Electricity tariff increase spread across the country days back, with many Nigerians questioning the rationale for increase. Key players in the power sector, in reaction, are of the opinion that Nigerians deserve an improvement in power supply before any planned increase.
Increase in tariff itself is not a silver bullet or the final solution. There are a lot of issues that needed to be addressed that are not being addressed.
That tariff increase, I repeat, must be tied to efficient performance. It must be tied to the right data being used to arrive at the right tariff. Because if we don't use the right data, then consumers may be paying more or even paying less.
However, Chairman Board of the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, James Momo, maintains that electricity tariffs remains the same, nonetheless with a projection for a review by April 2020.
If at the end of our meeting back and forth, we said no increase, no increase. There is going to be increase, it will be based on our engagement at the public forum.
The provisions of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act of 2005 empowers the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission to review electricity tariff twice a year to ensure efficient power delivery at the different stages of electricity distribution value chain. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Local airlines and passengers may be in for a difficult period as flight disruptions is likely to rise due to bad weather. Emmanuel Ayemiro was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport to see firsthand the situation in Abuja and the way to go with the hazy weather and flight operations.
Poor visibility is one of the biggest challenges affecting flight operations around this time and sometimes up to the third month of the year, depending on your location. This, however, disrupts passengers' plans as flights may have to be rescheduled, cancelled or delayed, depending on when weather improves. The likes of Captain Larry Thomas, who has 11 years flight experience, and Captain Mohamed Tijani have observed that so many people may have been...
Congratulations to him, and of course, congratulations to Nigeria's Asisat Oshala. Now, let us turn to the news on our aviation, where, of course, our hazy weather is affecting flight operations.
Poor visibility is one of the biggest challenges around this time and sometimes up to the third month of the year, depending on your location. This, however, disrupts passengers' plans, as flights may have to be rescheduled, cancelled or delayed, depending on when weather improves. The likes of Captain Larry Thomas, who has 11 years flight experience, and Captain Mohamed Tijani have observed that so many people may have been wondering why it's so hazy out there. The simple reason is that the Sahara dusty wind is making its way across the West Africa through the Gulf of Guinea to the northeast, blowing over the south. This leads to the weather obscuring the sun, raising dust, and thereby impairing visibility. Challenges that the airlines do have is, that they might have to move their flights, further, and it will cause more delays, and more delays will encroach into other flights. In most cases, where the weather is so severe, the hazy condition may blow over the runway markings and airfield lightings, making visual navigation difficult, resulting in flights cancellations and delays. Now, what are the losses to the airlines?
Only make money when the aircraft are flying. So when the aircraft are on ground, which means that no money or no income is coming to the airline. For that, it translates to a lot of economic loss for the company, because an airline is scheduled to do about maybe 7, 8, sometimes even 9 landings.
For safety reasons, I believe they are doing the right thing. Passengers should just try to understand and bear with the airline operators.
In all of this, some of the passengers have nice flight experiences.
I flew from Port Harcourt, and Port Harcourt looks better. But I know a few days earlier, it was quite terrible.
I'm coming in from Lagos. The flight experience, it was a smooth one.
Why flight operations are being cancelled, delayed, or rescheduled in other parts of the country, Abuja Airport is bubbling with flight operations due to moderate weather, usually around 800 meters minimum. Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
We now go to the judiciary, where the federal government has called for synergy in the way treaties and agreements are signed by agencies of government in order to establish a coordinated approach to government's inter-nation commitment. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, made this call in Abuja while inaugurating the National Directory of Treaties. Femi Okewo was there.
There is a claim making the rounds in Nigeria that ministries, departments, agencies, and even NGOs fly out of the country to attend conferences and end up signing agreements or treaties without involving the federal government or the National Assembly since its existence. Now that is to become a thing of the past now with the inauguration of the National Depository of Treaties. Section 4 of the Treaties Making Procedure Act 2004 designates the Federal Ministry of Justice as the depository of all treaties entered into between the Nigerian Federation and any other country. But due to the uncoordinated way agencies of government sign agreements, the Federal Ministry of Justice has now established a depository that will not only keep records of the treaties and agreements that Nigeria is a signatory to, but will also create access for them, both for local and international reference.
It is indeed about transparency, accessibility, and order in line with the commitment of the federal government to open government partnership, among others.
The National Assembly, which was represented at the event, is particularly excited by this development. The inauguration of the National Depository of Treaties, the Solicitor General of the Federation, Dayo Akpata, says, will curb contradictions in Nigeria's international commitments. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
A Kwara State High Court sitting in Ilorin, presided over by Justice Adebara, has granted an ex parte injunction restraining the Kwara State government or any of its agents from further demolition of the controversial property of late Olushola Saraki. The court, according to the counsel to the applicant, Ibrahim Abdulaziz Ibrahim, ruled that the state government should not go near the land, either to construct or do anything on the land, pending the determination of the motion on notice. The issue of kidnapping in Adamawa State has continued to be a source of concern to the people of Adamawa State. Mohammed Saidu reports that hardly a day passes without a reported case of the ugly practice in one part of the state or the other.
At the effort of security agents, the ungodly practice of kidnap and demand for ransom has continued unabated in Adamawa State. Though the police severally arrested the perpetrators and charged them to court, the practice still persists. Worried by the situation, the residents of Gire, the worst affected area in the recent times, barricaded the major road linking the state capital with other parts of the northern zone of the state, accusing the police of releasing the perpetrators anytime they are arrested.
Even if they arrest the suspect, some of the suspects, within not longer time, they'll just release them.
We arrested some suspects, but unfortunately, when they were taken to the police station, they were released.
Reacting to the allegation, the Commissioner of Police, Adamawa State Command, Adamu Madaki, debunked the rumor, saying that the people were misled.
Yesterday evening, I instructed him to now transfer the suspect to State CID for continued investigation and then for the suspect to be charged to court. But to my greatest surprise, I learned Gire people misconstrue my order that they were being brought here to be released.
In Yola, Muhammad Saidu, NTA News.
As part of efforts to educate the public on the activities of the Nigerian Armed Forces, the Defense Headquarters has signed an MOU with the Nigerian Film Corporation for the production of documentaries and movies on the lives of some of the fallen heroes. Doing Dia reports.
Of this MOU, bringing our both agencies into a very excellent collaboration that will be for the interest of the industry and Nigeria at large.
The signing of that MOU officially put a seal on the partnership between the Nigerian Film Corporations and the Defense Headquarters in order to produce short documentaries and movies that will showcase some of the activities of the Nigerian Armed Forces as well as the sacrifices of its men.
Many Nigerians are unaware of what the military is doing. It is for that reason that the Chief of Defense Staff decided that we will go into collaboration with Nigerian Film Corporation so that we will start working together to produce films.
From experience, the valor and courage of the Nigerian Armed Forces has been greatly underestimated. And we need to tell their story over and over and over again.
When we talk about global presence of the Nigerian military, we are going to do that using the Nigerian filmmakers. They are going to be the new generals in uniform, the new rear admirals. All are going to be Nigerian filmmakers.
Doing Dia, NT News.
Time to join Dalton in Lagos for more stories from that zone.
Thank you, Kene, and welcome to Lagos. The student who suffered some injuries in a stampede that rocked Lagos State University Ojo this Monday is said to be responding to treatment at the General Hospital Igondo. Hinginujan Adams has an update.
It was a divine intervention that January 6 did not turn to a black day in Lagos State as 2,500 100-level students of the State University, LASU, struggled to occupy the 500-capacity new ICT Center venue of the General Nigerian Studies GNS 102 examination, a computer-based test. This was contrary to the plan of the management to have the students write the examination in 6 batches.
It's still on the side of the student that they were so impatient to go in gently for their exams. I was meant to come up in batches as scheduled by the ICT.
As expected, the disaster went viral on the social media and blown out of proportion, a situation the coordinator, Center for Information, Press and Public Relations of the institution now put in the right perspective.
The response from the Vice Chancellor and the University management really helped a lot because at the end of the day, we didn't have any serious casualties on our hand.
After the first check that they've come to say that there's no serious issue, they are taking her to the ophthalmologist to check again. And she worked there on her own.
The school authority has, however, rescheduled the examination to Wednesday and Thursday this week, with proper arrangements on ground to avoid recurrence. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
The successes recorded by the Nigerian Navy in several operations has led to drastic reduction in illegal maritime activities, resulting in greater economic gains for the country. In this report, correspondent examines the strides attained by the Navy in 2019 and its prospects to achieve better maritime security in the new year. Protecting Nigeria's maritime space, which is about 84,000 square nautical miles, as well as its interest in the Gulf of Guinea, from crimes such as piracy, sea robbery, crude oil theft, illegal oil bunkering, illegal unreported and unregulated fishing, militancy, and hostage-taking, was a task the Nigerian Navy committed its men and vessels to achieving in the year 2019, with successes recorded.
Everybody is sitting up. Everybody is working. Everybody has a key performance indicator that they must measure up to and they must be able to deliver. We also have a transformation plan, the revised edition for 2011 to 2020, which we are still operating. But then, this year, the CNS has directed us to begin immediately planning for another plan, transformation plan that will take us for the next decade.
The Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, on the 9th of December 2019 in Sharjah, United Arab Emirates, performed the keel laying for the construction of a new landing ship tank. The new vessel is to fill the vacuum created by the decommissioning of two landing ship tanks, NNS Ophium and NNS Ambe, 10 years ago, after serving in the Nigerian Navy fleet since 1979. The Nigerian Navy is not just acquiring vessels, it is also developing local content in its fleet renewal drive.
We started with now Caradua, and I learned Caradua went for the Ghana celebration of Ghana Navy at 60. That's a show of force, not just diplomatic missions, but a show of the fact that we are capable to build our own platforms.
The Navy has also purchased 20 foreign patrol boats and 20 locally made patrol boats designed for brown water operations in the creeks. And that's our contribution from Lagos. Network News continues after the break. Do stay with us.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
It is indeed befitting to honor the memory of the gallant hearts and men who paid the supreme sacrifice to keep the country united.
President Muhammadu Buhari enjoins all ministries, parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to these accounts. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
Welcome back to the Network News. Amina Nujem is standing by with our business news. Tell us, what's this excitement about banking shares?
Well, thanks to positive financial reports from the banks, everybody is chasing banking shares.
Wow.
Anyway, that said, the passing of the financial bill into law would exempt businesses with turnover less than 25 million naira from paying companies income tax. Zainab Ahmed, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, explains that the company income tax law in Nigeria provides that all companies are expected to pay to the federal government 30% of their profit as income tax. However, the minister says that the charges will cease to apply to companies making a profit of less than 25 million because they are top labor providers. And in the equities market, investors Investors shared 117.66 million naira after another impressive outing as the bulls continue to dominate the buzz at the close of trade on Tuesday. The NSE All-Share Index appreciated by 0.90% to close at 27,586.93 basis points with a market value of 5.819 billion naira. Market capitalization stood at 13.316 trillion naira, while the year-to-date return stands at plus 2.77%. A total of 446 million shares were traded in an impressive 5,727 deals, all thanks to investors' interest in the banking sector, with the NSE banking advancing 3.90%. With financial reports of banking sector releasing positive results from the 2019 and investor interest, the financial institutions of United Bank for Africa PLC, Zenith Bank and FBNH Holding PLC led the top trades. Dangote Cement led the gainers with 2.74 share. Price appreciating, closing at 150 naira per share. This was followed by Zenith Bank PLC 50%, and Presco PLC. List of active stocks that proceeded impressive volume spiked at the end of the day's session. And in other business development, Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo has indicated his country's determination to join a West African currency dubbed the ECHO that will replace the franc-backed CFA franc in 8 regional countries. President Addo, in a statement, stressed that it will help remove trade and monetary barriers. However, Ghana opposes plans to keep the ECHO pegged to the euro, urging the regional authorities to work quickly towards adopting a flexible exchange regime rate. And that's about it from the business desk.
Thank you very much, Amina. Now, the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, has warned oil bunkerers in the Niger Delta region to desist from acts of oil theft and economic sabotage. In a statement by the agency's head of media and publicity, Wilson Owojari, the EFCC boss termed oil bunkering a terrible leakage of the economy, reaffirming his agency's resolution to fight the menace. He notes that the Niger Delta is highly significant to the nation's economy. The EFCC chairman, who is on a working visit to the Port Harcourt zonal office of the commission, stresses that illegal oil bunkerers would face tougher times in the new year. Mr. Mago, also at the 6th Division, Nigerian Army, Port Harcourt, explains that vehicles forfeited to the federal government by illegal oil dealers belong to the federal government and the processes for their auction are still ongoing. On the issue of a perpetual injunction restraining the EFCC from investigating officials of Rivers State government, Mr. Mago states that several rulings have knocked off the injunction and the matter in Supreme Court. The Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Obonaya Ondo, has charged research institutions under the ministry to take the lead in the present administration's effort to diversify the nation's economy by embarking on research projects that will create jobs and grow the economy. The minister gave the charge when he inaugurated some completed projects at the Project Development Institute, PRODA, Enugu. Jude Abugu reports.
The inaugurated projects include the fully equipped pencil project complex, where pencils are now being produced using locally sourced materials like clay and used newspapers. The Azo Dye project complex, where dyes are being extracted from cashew shells for use in textile, petrochemical and leather industries.
We should do research so that people can now come in here and get the technology and start producing them in the country.
The minister also unveiled the newly revived furnaces in the foundry and fabrication section. This particular furnace, the first of its kind in the entire Southeast, was purchased but never installed over 10 years ago. However, with the coming of this present administration, it was successfully installed by indigenous experts within a period of 4 months. With the installation of the hitherto abandoned high-frequency furnace completed, Proda is set to venture into automobile parts fabrication.
We have the capacity now to produce so many spare parts.
Gradually, we're going to shift from importation to become fully production nation.
The minister was emphatic on the use of local materials and commercialization of the institute's breakthrough in researches and innovation. This, he said, is the only way the nation can be self-reliant. In Enugu, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
Abdurrahman is in Sokoto with stories from that part of the country.
Good evening, Kene, and welcome to Sokoto. Sokoto State Fire Service has recorded 572 fire outbreaks and 8 deaths in the year 2019. Muhammad Nasir reports that over 30 outbreaks were also recorded across the state in the first 5 days of 2020, the report.
The State Fire Service had reported frequent fire outbreaks in the state and attributed same to higher level of unconsciousness in the handling of fire and other flammable materials. On a daily basis, the agency had received not less than 5 fire emergency calls from the 1st to 5th January 2020. Fire outbreaks in the state have become a perennial problem, with many reported cases which pose serious threats to socio-economic development of the state. Statistics indicates that in the year 2019, the State Fire Service recorded 572 fire outbreaks, which claimed 8 lives and property worth 4.5 billion naira were destroyed. However, 927 lives as well as property worth 5.7 billion naira were saved.
People are supposed to be sensitized on what should be done so as to stop this inferno, these fire outbreaks. We have been telling them that this is what they should do.
The agency is well equipped to tackle fire incidents in the state. The federal government had also provided 2 firefighting vehicles to the state in September 2019 to enhance the capacity to fight fire incidents in the state. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
Sokoto state government has drawn the attention of Sustainable Development Goals to adhere to the contract specifications of blocks of classrooms across primary and secondary schools in the state. Dr. Abdullahi has the details.
Governor Amina Tambol made the observation when he paid an unscheduled visit to construction sites at the Government Day Secondary School Marnuna in Wurno local government. 100 blocks of 6 classrooms each have been awarded across the schools in the state by government through the State Ministry for Local Government Affairs in collaboration with the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs.
We have some reservation on the one being carried out by the SDGs of 1 block of 6 classrooms. And I have instructed that the contractor should be recalled because we have observed some lapses in the work he has done for him to meet the actual specifications of the contract.
Many of the construction works have been completed and others are at different stages of completion. In Sokoto, Dalatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Sokoto. Back to Kene and Abuja for more on Network News.
Thanks indeed, Abdurrahman. History has it that Qumran community in Jericho were the original writers of the Holy Book in Hebrew language, which was later discovered by archaeologists known to be Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, Ruth Aguela reports that beyond this discovery, there were other peculiarities about the Qumran community.
Life, they say, is full of mysteries. Little wonder the Great Rift Valley below the sea level, close to the Dead Sea here, is not just a tourist destination, but holds very strong spiritual values. This is the story of the Qumran community, also known as Yahad. The Yahad people lived a secluded life with no woman in their community because they sought spiritual purity. The Dead Sea Scrolls are the books in the Bible, which was written by the Yahad community, later discovered in one of the caves in 1947. History have it that before the Qumran people write, they must take a spiritual bath for cleansing, and these sections here are the spots of those spiritual baths. All preserved for decades in their natural habitation. Although it has become a excavation area engulfed by civilization, but how significant is this site for the pilgrims?
We bring people here so that they will see and know that the things we have in the Bible are not just things that people imagine and wrote, that some people took their time to document things that were happening.
And we see the nature, the reality of what is written in the Bible in this site is real.
And actually, this has affirmed our faith in Christ.
No doubt, years may have passed since this sacred community faded, but the ghost of the Yahad people still wanders here. From Jericho, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News. After the break, more on the 2019 CAF Awards. Stay with us.
President Muhammadu Buhari's projection for the new year on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Experts will take a look at the sectoral expectations. The program, Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m., will be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
We have come to the end of another successful year, and we wish to appreciate all those that mean so much to us: our sponsors, our clients, government at all levels, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, and above all, you, our esteemed viewer. Together, we made 2019 great. Together, we shall make 2020 even greater. That is why we say, thank you. This is wishing you Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Welcome back. It's good news as the Super Falcons forward Asisat Oshala has been named as the 2019 African Women's Best Player after edging out South Africa's Thembe Gatlana and Cameroon's Ajera Nkot to the award, which took place in Egypt Tuesday evening. The 25-year-old FC Barcelona forward was part of Nigeria's team that reached the round of 16 at the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France as she rings the gong for the fourth time. Meanwhile, Sadio Mane became the first Senegalese since 2002 after El Hadji Diouf to be named as African Footballer of the Year. The 27-year-old Liverpool forward beat his teammate and Egypt forward Mohamed Salah and Algeria winger Riyad Mahrez to round off a sterling year in which he won the UEFA Champions League, Super Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, and also reached the final of the Africa Cup of Nations as Senegal lost to Algeria. Winners also emerged in other categories as no Nigerian player made Africa's best 11. Now let's take a look at the weather prospect for Wednesday. And that's NTA Network News tonight. Thanks for watching. My name is Kene Ima Abodike. Good night.